Hi folks, decent day, very sunny, quite beautiful, yeah, nice weather indeed. It's not too hot, so that's one good thing. It's bright, but it's not too hot, so there you go. Yeah, what news? No news really. Not really, I don't think there's much news to bring at all. That's why there's been no videos for a while. It's been a few weeks, there's not really been anything to bring, yeah. Of course, there's always subjects, but generally speaking, as I said before, unless God gives me something to say, I'm not going to say anything because, yeah, there's a lot of people saying things just for the sake of saying something. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that. So as with the dog situation, that case, well, delayed again because psychiatric report has not been done yet. So, cool, okay. Yeah. Is what it is. It is. You just got to wait. Yeah, I mean, did I handle it well? Night before? Nope. No, I mean, just because, I seem to be okay with it at the moment, but it doesn't mean I handle it perfectly well all the time. Yeah. When things get on my mind about it, really on my mind about it, then yeah, there's a lot of anger, well, a lot of hatred and anger and all of that. It still needs to be dealt with, but yeah, and God allows that to come out because he's trying to basically say to me that needs to be dealt with. Well, of course it does. Yep, I don't doubt that in any way, shape or form. So yes, there's still stuff to deal with. But it's now the 1st of June, so cool. So yeah. I was thinking earlier about, well, there's a lot of things that are going to be shown quite soon. We're still waiting for a lot of things to happen, so yeah, pretty soon I will know what's going to happen or what's not going to happen. So at the moment, still waiting for a lot of things. So yeah, in the next few months, yeah, everything will become clear. And yeah, as to gym stuff, well, basically my membership is ending in just a few days. Well, I decided to end it. Yeah, in the gym they don't have decent AC at all, so it gets way too hot. If you're trying to have a workout, it gets way too hot. So not ideal at all. And then use of sauna, stuff like that, again, in the summer, not really. It's a good winter thing, but summer, not really. You don't need it, especially when you get to the hotter sort of times, because you need to cool down at that time, not actually heat up. So it's like, no. There's no point paying for something that I won't be using very much over this period. So cancel the membership. Yeah, if I choose to go back in winter, then I go back in winter. But because I've got all the stuff indoors anyway, I will just do what I do indoors now. Well, at least then I can do what I want to do when I want to do it, and it's not actually as hot as the gym is. So yeah. Well, once I get the fans out again, start using them. Yeah. Just has a fan on when I'm working out, and that'll keep me nice and cool. No need to worry about that at all. That does the job. So yeah. Well, something I was saying to someone earlier about is destination, and that quite often you're in a situation where you start a journey with God. God sometimes allows you to think that you're going to a certain destination, but that's not going to be your final destination on that journey. And the reason is because if God showed you exactly what you're going to go through to get to that point, to the real destination, you'd be saying, no, I don't see it. I don't see how that's possible. So You get told what you need to know when you need to know it. And then, well, anyone, look at what's happened on your journey, and you'll often see there's things happen that if you were told that those things would happen, you'd be like, no. Now, I can't see. If that happened, there's no way, shape or form I'd be able to cope with that. So I don't believe it. I don't accept that. So therefore, you don't get told that. It happens, and then as you look back later, you see, wow, that was incredible. Yeah, I didn't see how that could happen, that I'd be able to cope with that, and yet it did, and I did. So, where you think you're headed is not necessarily where you're headed. Even though God has allowed you to believe that that's where you're headed. Is it a lie? No, it's not a lie. That doesn't constitute a lie. That constitutes as, actually that is where you're headed right now. But that's not where your path finishes. Yeah. Quite interesting when you look at it from that point of view. Right. Oh, something else that was new subject. Yes. Yeah. Something else on my mind the other day, talking about how we see people, how we can judge people sometimes, how we can be in that way. And I started to understand that we need to see people how God sees people, and the way God sees people, He sees all that they've done, good and bad. Good and bad. He sees all that they've done, good and bad. But the way He looks at them is always with love. Always love. In the world, the way we look at people is always judgment. It's hardly ever love. Even the way we look at a partner, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. It's judgment, it's not love. Yeah. You see in relationships, oh, what have you done now? Yeah, it's that judgment. It's expecting that person to have done something wrong. That's, God knows exactly what you've done wrong. But He doesn't look at you that way. Oh, this pathway's now been cut off. I wonder why. Normally we go down there, but they cut it off now. Okay. I wonder if we can get through here. There's a field here. We often see people walking around here, but I'm not sure if we're going to have to walk through here because they cut that off now. Normally that isn't cut off. It may be because the tractors are going down there. They cut that off because they're obviously putting pipe in there. That may be what they're doing here actually. Putting new sewage pipe in or electricity pipe in. I don't know. Go back up. Go back the way I came. So anyway, talking about that point, yeah, when it comes down to it, it's not easy looking at bad people from the point of love, is it? From the point of grace and mercy. Because that's what love is, grace and mercy. Grace and mercy isn't looking at the worst you've done and judging you based on that. It's looking at who you are as a person. And God, of course, God sees that some people are quite vile as human beings. They certainly can be judged that way from a human point of view. But God looks deeper because God understands why they are the way they are. We don't. But the way we have to approach people is in the way that we want to understand. Yeah, that we're open to understanding why you are how you are. Yeah, we're not going to judge you for that because we know, I've said before in many videos, that you can't judge people because you never walked in their shoes. Yeah. And that is true. But it goes further now. That as well as we can't judge people, we need to try and understand, why people are the way they are, so that we can see them in a better light, so we can look at them more with love than with judgment or hatred as to who they are as people. And that's cool. That's good stuff. I don't necessarily have anything more to bring. There's been a lot of little bits like that I've got over the past few weeks. Little tidbits, I suppose, but there's nothing major right now. There's no new subject that I can really bring. Certainly nothing that I can bring that can open up anything. I'd say certainly with regards to the church, a more simple way to put it with regards to the church is that if they just continued, when they went in the Lord, if they just continued, then a lot of the problems that we have with church wouldn't be here, because they would have gone through. And if you go through the Lord, you go through to Father, and you go through the Father, you actually end up in the destination you're supposed to be in. So, well, for now, that is. Whether that destination will change, as I said earlier, is quite possible. But that's why, the church thought that when you got like the gifts of the Spirit, that was the destination. The problem is it wasn't. Oh, one thing I can bring that I got the other day. Very beautiful, very powerful. Well, quite powerful. Very beautiful. When you look at it from the point of church, you've got faith. Position of faith and position of knowing. Well, faith is like a young child. A young child has faith in certain things. A young child has faith that, generally speaking, a dog isn't going to bite them. They have a degree of faith in it. As you get older, you have knowledge of that, which is stronger than faith. Knowledge is something which is, much harder to destroy. Faith can be destroyed quite easily, as it's based upon something you can't really hold on to. Knowledge you can hold on to. You can grip that, you can hold it, you can feel it, it's solid. Faith isn't. Children are faith. Adults should be knowledge. Same with the church. Anyone who's still relying upon faith is a child. Anyone walking in knowledge is an adult, is a more mature member. But most people in church are just faith, completely just faith, no knowledge at all. That's reality, isn't it, really? I mean, I myself, am I completely knowledge? No, God no. I have a tiny, teeny, wincy bit of knowledge. Really, hardly anything. Hardly anything. I mean, the amount of knowledge that is available, I have such a tiny amount. I mean, see the tip of that bit of grass? That's probably the amount I've got. The tip of that bit of grass here, that's what I've got. Yeah, that's the size of it compared to the size of the world, basically. But I have some knowledge, but I still have to lean on faith to a certain degree. So I'm not mature, not fully. If I was fully mature, I wouldn't have to lean on faith at all, because all of that would be knowledge. Now, as I move forward, I become more knowledgeable and less having to rely upon faith. Because, as I say, with faith is a case, the problem with faith is, if you look at the situation that you're in, that's when that faith starts to tremble. Because the situation you're in is based upon knowledge. It's based upon worldly knowledge. You see what you're in, you see it doesn't look good. So suddenly having faith that this is going to improve, especially when you've had faith for a while and it hasn't improved, makes that faith start to tremble, starts to shake a bit. Because of the fact it's not really built on anything, is it? It's more of a hope and a bit more than a hope. But when you look at the reality, that's when it can start to collapse. Knowledge doesn't. Knowledge, I can look at the reality of whatever situation I'm in, and whatever I have knowledge in, that knowledge is still there. Even though there'll be moments when I forget it. There will be, of course. There will be moments where the problems and where all of that bad stuff can seem way too big, and you focus on that and you forgot to remember what you know. That can happen, but eventually you're going to remember what you know, and as soon as you remember what you know, suddenly those problems seem like nothing. Whereas with faith can help you to lift out of it from time to time. It can do. But generally speaking, if you keep on looking at the problems, you're going to be suffocated by them. Faith won't be able to help you in that. Knowledge is what can take you from, well, it's like a child falls into a pool of water, starts to panic thinking that they're drowning. They don't think, hold it, I'm such feet tall. I'm 3 feet tall or 4 feet tall. How deep is this water? Let's try and stand up. They won't necessarily think of that because panic sets in. Why does panic set in? Because they don't have knowledge yet. They have faith in that moment when they fall into water, that if they fall into water and they're not really able to swim, they're going to drown. Because they can't breathe through water. They know that already. That is a knowledge that they do have. The way I've said it isn't quite as beautiful, but just a basic understanding. I tried to add a bit too much to it, I suppose. Tried to fatten it out. Yeah, sometimes we shouldn't do that. I think that probably is true. So you go, lesson learned. Yeah, so generally speaking, people in a position of knowledge are more mature than those still having to rely upon faith. So there you go. That is nice. I mean, it also helps you to understand the situation, really. Yeah. If you are someone who has a certain degree of faith but a certain degree of knowledge, then you are mature in. And that's good. Understand that. Ask God to help you to grow in knowledge. Look at that beautiful day. Nice sunny day today. Gorgeous indeed. So there you go. But you take care. God bless. Bye bye.